Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's so great to see you. You look fantastic, by the way.
We both lost,
yeah.
maybe 100 together, huh?
You do most of the work, though. But also, doesn't Louie look great in blue? That's a great look for you.
I'm good at. I tried it on, and I said, "All right." They picked it out. I said to the person, "Pick out something you think would work for me."
Yeah.
And then I tried it on. I went, a little, monkey suit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A little but it worked. It worked all the way around. And these are jeans that they make now for fat people that are stretchy.
Yeah.
And they're in 5 colors. But I wouldn't wear jeans, but they're so stretchy. And they were 4 sizes smaller than the last jeans I bought. So I was thrilled.
That's fantastic.
I just want to say right out, when we first did the first one, I never got more comments than that show. Well, I mean, I got so many comments on social media about how great everyone loved the show.
Well, that was a fantastic show with you. And that was really, as Baskets was, starting, and the Christine Baskets character changed your life.
Yes. I mean, it just was such a I don't even know how to explain it. It's still like a surreal kind of situation because I'm not Christine outside of Christine being dressed in that outfit. I can't even find the voice now. That voice isn't there. But when I put all that stuff on, I walk out, leave Louie Anderson in the hair and makeup trailer, and I walk out as her, and something takes over. It's a really weird thing. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, this is the muse right here, the new book, Hey Mom, because a lot of your mom is...
It's my mom, yeah. It really is. I'll always say to Jonathan Kreisel, our director, can I try it like my mom? And he'll go, yeah. That's all it is with him. It's just go give it a shot. It's real low key, and I go, okay, do you really want me to? Am I being a jerk?
Yeah.
And then I try it as my mom, and they like it, and it's a better take because I know my mom so well.
You know her, and you know her point of view, and you know what was funny about
She was
that.
funny, but, I'm not sure she was trying to be funny. But I think she was probably smarter than me, and she was trying to be funny. And I was kind of dense. Yeah. You know how you're dense when you're a kid, what? And so that was really good. It was really all the way around. It's been just such a good thing. And then one day I came home and I just wrote this long, long letter to her and gave it to my manager and my producing partner. And they both commented to me in a way this is really good. This is really heartfelt. This is really, maybe you should do a book because, that's how they make money.
Right, yeah. Not that old.
The letter does, you get a book. And then I wrote the book with Andrew Postman, who is a great writer here in New York, and he helped me with it because I'm a really good writer, but very disorganized. I don't, for crossing crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
Yeah, it's a whole different kind of creativity.
Yeah, it's a whole nother thing putting things together. But this was a journey of love and a love letter to my mom. Really, this was all about, hey, Mom, because I always say that in my life. I always have, hey, Mom, how's it going up there? Did Dad ever make it to heaven, or was he kicked out? Because that's the kind of stuff, I just ask it, and my brother who passed on, I wanted to know if he was there. And, those kinds of things, I want to believe, there's a much bigger upside to believing in the great beyond than the other thing. Yeah. Because if there's nothing, if there's nothing, then at least while I was here, I thought there was something. And I just feel it. There are too many things. I recently, in your favorites on your phone, I had my brother who passed away, and I butt dialed it, and I got a call back, and I freaked out a little. And then I realized they reassigned the number, and he goes, "Who is this?" I go, "Tommy." I didn't say it, but I'm tempted to call that number back to see if the person's name is Tommy or starts with a T.
Yeah.
Because that's all I need to believe, or either one of those things. But I love that I always look at that stuff. Oh, that's like him saying hi to me and giving me a chance to remember. I think, I live in nostalgia a lot, and I live in, we were a sentimental family. So when, that sentimental thing in the Midwest is big because we're in the house for 9 months.
Right. Yeah.
What do you
Home's
think?
important.
Remember when we had sun come out? Remember when we had the sun come out, shower us? We almost felt alive again.
Well, that's another thing too. I mean, you're a very sensitive guy. Like a lot of funny people are very sensitive. But you had just lost Tommy before we had done the last interview, and I had the sense that you were just holding it together.
I was.
But at the same time, to go out and do, you know what I mean? To go out and promote and do that work. It's a strength.
It is a strength. You have to get, what are you going to do? Sit home and, cry, which is fine. I can cry. I think you should cry every day. I talk about it in the book.
Yeah.
I think you need to cry every day because there's tons of things worth crying about, and I don't mean they have to be sad tears, but I think you have to be brought to emotions every day and otherwise you're not going to. Otherwise, I'm going to eat more. That's what I look at.
Yeah,
you should. You should be able to do all your emotions because otherwise, I think bottling up that stuff is where things go bad.
Yeah, but you also kind of bring up in the book that when you have that kind of loss, you bring up that the whole experience of life is just loss after loss.
I had lots of loss in my life. You lost my dad, lost my mom, lost my older brother, lost my older sister, lost my second older sister, lost my second older brother, lost my third older brother, or fourth older brother, lost my baby brother, lost my other sister. I lost 7 siblings, along with my mom and dad, and so I think that loss is always, is part of the thing I live with, but I don't live in a morbid situation with it. I accept it. I understand it. I always wish I could have done more. And I think it's a common feeling with us as humans. Why wasn't I nicer to my mom? Why didn't I try to help my sister more? And why didn't I try to do this? Why didn't I, but usually I try not to look at with regret because regret is weighs tons. Mm-hmm. You carry regret along with you. It's so much work when you just have to kind of let go of things. You do. If you can't let go of it, then you should, I've done a lot of therapy in my life. I credit the therapy and good friends like my friend Abraham and my friend Amos and, my friend Jim and all these people who've given me a lot of their life experiences and helped me through stuff. And you need people. Yeah. You need a lot of people to, have a touchstone with when you have a lot of loss, I think.
But you connect with people wherever you go. Something about your personality. There's a thing in the book.
I like human beings.
Yeah. Well, when you lost your brother, you get on a plane and a woman is next to you and you just have this, and you just say out of nowhere, I wish I had a sign.
Yeah,
I can't.
That's the craziest thing that happened. I don't know if I talked about it on the last show, but I was on a plane. My brother was about to be cremated, and my nephew was with him, and I had to hang up. And I said, "Well, okay, you'll stay." And my nephew said, "I'll stay with him," and so that was great. Even though it's a body, I still feel, I just felt like somebody should be with him, and he stayed with him. And I just turned to that person. I don't know. I go, "Do you believe in?" And they said, no. I think they said no. I go, I just wish I had a sign.
Yeah.
And the plane backed out and the brightest light sunset or sunrise, sunset, I think, blasted into the whole cockpit there and lit it up. And I had a smile on my face and they had a look of, oh.
Yeah.
And I wanted to believe that that was my sign.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, too many things happen where I feel connected to things. So I think we're all just living in a little ways from the connection that if we opened our hearts enough that we could reach it.
It feels close, right?
It feels
like
close. Like sometimes do you ever bump into that connection?
Yeah.
Where you just go, what was that? And there's nothing there, but you bumped into something.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel that kind of stuff. And, but you know, I had another. Go ahead.
The thing with your mom, right? With the night that your mom
when my
passed away.
Yeah, the phone was ringing. I'm laying in bed. Phone's ringing. I'm turned away from where the nightstand in the hotel where the phone's ringing, just ringing and ringing, and you're going, stop ringing, and you just don't want to turn out. You don't want to answer the phone. You're in some sort of, you know, deep sleep or whatever it is, and then I turned over to answer the phone, and right in front of the door to the hallway was a giant, almost like Ghostbusters, but you know the thing at the car places that goes up and that, but with colors I can't describe to you except I could see them, and it was just, and there was a giant beautifulness about it, and a beautiful comfort, a smile. There wasn't a face. But there wasn't not a face. You know, there was something that I was trying to recognize, and the phone kept ringing and ringing and ringing. I finally picked it up, and my brother Jim said, Mom died, and that thing went under the door. All those things went just like being sucked out under the door. And I said to my brother, hold on a second. And I got up and I looked out in the hallway, because I wanted to see if that was out there, whatever it was. Yeah. And it wasn't. And I just, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it was. I felt like it was maybe my mom saying goodbye.
Yeah. That without, you do these things without judgment. You're like, this is just it. This something happened.
Yeah, this is just something that happened that either I manifested, right, which is possible, or I wanted to happen, or I was connected. We were really close, my mom and I, in so many ways. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I remember my dad died. It was 3 a.m. I'm playing 500 bid with my brother Jim and his wife, and somebody else was there. I forget, maybe my sister-in-law's sister. And we were playing 500 bid. It's 3 a.m. And the phone rings, and I go, oh, Dad's dead. And I mean, you know, I don't know. I know my dad was sick, but he was sick for years, you know? Yeah. And so those were weird situations. So I don't know, you know, this book is not all about those things. This book is a funny book too.
Right, sure.
You know, I want people to realize it's a lot of really good humor in it about stuff my mom did and about stuff our family did. And so I think, you know, the nice thing is it would make we wanted to get it out on Mother's Day because, well, for my mom, for one thing, she would have loved that. And I think it's an opening conversation after your mom or after you read the book to your parents. Because one thing I realized is I didn't quite become great friends with my mom. And I don't know why I didn't. She was a great person. But, you know, you grow up with a child adult, your child parent, and then you get to that point where it's you have an opening, you have to take it, where you go, Mom, what did you see in Dad? Why would you marry this nut? I mean, quite honestly, why would you? This guy's a bad guy. He was mean to us. Why would you stick with him so long? Another thing, I have 12 questions you should ask your parents. One of them is, besides me, what's the best thing you ever did, you know? Because moms will always say you. If you say you were. Okay. Besides me. And then just, you know, I think that, you know, like sometimes I'll talk to people and they say, I haven't talked to my parents in 5 years. And I'll go, let's give them a call.
Right.
I've done that more than once in my shows, even with brothers and sisters. I'll go, hey, Cindy says she hasn't talked to you in 7 years. Yeah. And the person will go, that's right. And I go, why? She goes, I'm not really sure why, but we just haven't. And I go, well, here she is. Say hi. You guys should get together. You're invited to my show anytime you want to come. And then I don't know whatever happens, but I can't help myself.
Yeah, you
I'm a
create that
Midwesterner. I want to get in people's business.
Yeah. Well, you do a hell of a job
people,
of it.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Who are in, you're having a conversation with someone, they go, well, what I think is, who the hell are you?
Yeah. But I also think it's that the thing that even works in your comedy is that you have this great observation, but you can also you put yourself in other people's position. You do it when you talk about your dad. You're suddenly your dad. You talk about your mom. You're suddenly your mom. It's
really like I really go there.
Yes, you do.
Like my dad was really funny. You know, he just
Yeah.
We didn't even know he could talk for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and he would say, and he would do the weirdest things. He'd go, look at that guy. And I'd look at me, go, don't look at him. Just look at him.
Yeah.
And then my mom, I thought I got a lot of humor from my dad, which I did, I guess. But I didn't realize I got equal amount from my mom.
Sure.
Like I said, I think she knew how funny she was. And I still, you know, quote all those lines. She loved the 88-cent store. We had an 88-cent store long before the 99-cent store. It was and she'd go, should we run over to the 88-cent store? I go, I guess. And she would go over there, and her whole time there, she would go, what do you think of this, Louie? For 88 cents, huh? I don't think about it.
Yeah.
You know how when you're a teenager, I don't think about it. Well, I'm going to get it because Janet will love it. Okay, Ma.
And that's Christine Baskets, right? I mean, that's
true. There she
straight
is.
humor.
My mom could find beauty in anything.
Right.
That's the scene in Baskets where I get the Desante water, which I renamed as the character. You know, just did it. I just didn't even mean to do it. In the thing, I go, Desante. And then I go, what a beautiful bottle. I'd put this in a window. It's so pretty. And that's... Those words are right out of my mom. Those are, you know, if you ever see one of those Martha, she's talking about a thing that makes curly fries. Well, if you ever see one, get one for me.
Get one.
That's how my mom was.
Yeah. And there's such a sweetness to that character, but not all sweet.
No.
She can
be very,
very, very cruel in her own way.
Yes. She's only when she has to be protective or somebody's being mean to her, which is really, my mom would do it, but she could smile right through it. You know, like when the one woman says Chip said something about Chip not doing well. Yeah. You know, and Christine goes, well, how's your daughter? I saw her down at, I think it was, I don't know what store I said. She looked like she was methed out of her mind. You know? And then I take a big bite of a cake pop. and I don't like being mistreated. I mean, Christine's a complicated character. She wants to be liked. She wants to be loved. And she wants to be a part of things, and these women have excluded her, and she's heartbroken more than she's mad. She's heartbroken because she just wants to be liked and loved. And I feel like this last season, Christine got a chance to really be liked and loved, and make an opportunity. She wasn't successful at running a rodeo, but she realized it, you know, and I don't know, I just love what the writers did this year for the character. But
do you enjoy stepping into that kind of power too? It's a different kind of strength than you might have yourself.
Yeah, I like playing this character because she's a bull in a china shop, but she doesn't know she's knocked anything over.
Right. Yeah.
But she's knocked everything over. What is that? Is that she would never blame herself. Well, I don't know what happened. She's a lovely character to play and a privilege, you know, and an homage to my mom. You know, when I won the Emmy, I go, we did it, Mom.
We did. It was a great moment. And people all over was just so happy for you.
Yeah, I've really been loved unconditionally and maybe even unwarranted to have all that love. You know, you've never woken up in the same house as I have, you don't know what a grump I can be.
Right.
Because I'm just like my dad if things aren't going my way. That's, I think, why I do prayers and meditation when I get up. So I can get all that subconscious that we have playing out of my big head. Right. And I'm a better person after I do it. I mean, I don't do anything before I do those two things.
Well, everyone...
I might pee.
Yeah. but that is the whole point of like a transformation. You have to work. I mean, if you were born okay and a holy person, so what? What I mean? Yeah. So what? But it's the person who just keeps working, and I think that's always been you, no matter what you're dealing with.
Well, if this character, given me a chance to transplant the humanity and the character and the love my mom had and the maternal thing right over to this character, but it's so weird because I don't get it happens during the process when I'm getting dressed and they're putting the makeup on, they put the wig on. It's extensive, and when I get on the set, I ask people to call me Christine and not Louie because I want Louie to disappear from it.
And has you ever been to a point where you couldn't get to that character, or it always comes in?
When I can't get to it, Jonathan sticks with me until I get there.
Yeah.
And Zach's so good to work with.
Right.
My goal and Zach's goal is to crack each other up, to ruin the scene.
Yeah.
That's really our goal. We're both going.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to try and get him to, and he starts laughing. Then if I start laughing, and then we had the last scene of the year where the guy Ernie, Ernie, who plays, what's his real name? No, not Ernie. I can't think. Eddie. Yeah. Eddie and Ernie. Mm-hmm. One of his names is real. So anyways, he said the funniest thing somehow that hit us funny. And so we tried to do the scene. And I'm telling you, finally, and Jonathan never gets mad. He goes, oh, come on. Yeah. He just really was exasperated but we could not stop laughing. And that was a joyful. Jack is really great, and Martha's really great too.
Yeah, everybody's great. And I also think it's amazing of Zach to be so sharing with this, and also smart. He said at Sketchfest, it's humbling to not be the most popular character in the show, right?
Or something like that. And I thought, oh, geez.
Well,
he's sharing his show with me.
It's very smart, though. It always reminds me of Andy Griffith when he found out the Barney Fife character was taken off. I mean, Andy Griffith was like a giant comic star, and he was just like, great, man, let's see what we can do with it. It's very smart in a show.
Yeah, it's been a great ride for me, and I hope it continues.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be my goal, is that we could play out the show to where the family gets to where they're supposed to be going, whether it's Christine has got a new family, or Christine hits the road with Martha, or Christine drives off a cliff. Yeah. I think all three of those things could happen. I said to Zach, we should do a poll where people out there tell us what they want to happen to their family. Because to me, that, we have such a loyal following for this show. That's kind of how I feel, is like, people fell in love with the family that isn't easy to love. And I just hope it gets to play out, because in TV, you're here today, but you may not be there tomorrow.
Right. And you have been very also so smart just to embrace it. You know what I mean? To say, this is an you get the call out of the blue to do this character. Yeah. Nobody even asked you to come in and do anything but show up. And then you find this character, and
it was a fluke.
It's a life changer.
Yeah. I mean, I only had one scene in the pilot.
Is that right?
Yeah, where I drank that Kirkland drink.
Oh, yeah.
But, I was trying to down it, and I realized you can't do it.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to spit it out. but I tried to save the take. I think I said, "Oh, that hit the spot," or "That was refreshing." Whatever I said, it saved the thing. If you look at that, Zach's laughing in the cup. He's laughing really, and so that was really, that was really fun. And I knew that the character was special for that moment. I knew it was really good, but I didn't know. It's been a long time since I did a sitcom. I did several pilots of my own early on, but I didn't know what was going to happen. But I would think, well, if Zach Galifianakis is in a show, I doubt they're going to get rid of it. So that's what I'm hoping. We haven't got the word yet on season 4, so I'm hoping that we will. I tell people, write and tell FX how much you like it, because that stuff matters to networks.
Sure, of course. It's
like votes. You never know who's going to become president unless you vote.
Yeah. Look what happened. The thing that I think would be the $1 million idea is go out on stage and do an hour as Christine Baskets. I think Broadway would pick you up in a heartbeat doing that.
We've talked about the idea of doing an evening with Christine Baskets. Or advice from Christine Baskets. The only way I would do it is if Jonathan would, be a part of it, because, he's been the touchstone on the whole thing. Zach is great, but Jonathan is my thing where I say, is this cartoony? Like, somebody asked me to be a part of their Woman of the Year award this year as Christine. And I just thought, ooh, that could go really bad. That could be,
Right.
So I'd really need somebody to be the person I could go to and go, I'm toying with the idea. Do I make a transformation from Louie to Christine on the stage and then do something? Or do I just come out as a real person, Christine Baskets? So I don't know. There'd have to be a good reason for it. But I mean, I would enjoy doing it. I think because I love the character.
Yeah, so. I don't think you do it at Caroline's. I think you do it as if it was a one man show and figure out to take it very seriously. And I think the thing about it is we all have that person in our life somewhere. That's the thing that you nailed with this, is that that's why it touches us personal.
Who is it in your life?
Well, it reminds me of my mom, my grandmother. It brings back my grandmother for me a lot for the same things of like, did she know that was funny, and did I even think it was funny at the time? How's this stayed around?
Those people, they kind of shape us without us even realizing,
without even knowing it.
They were opinionated, or like my grandma, my dad would come in and she'd go, she can't cook, and then he'd go, oh, he's still alive, huh? And I didn't realize that I didn't know I was being a part of that.
Right.
But I was observing it. I think that's what comics do in their childhood.
Sure.
They're observing the whole shebang.
Well, what you understand when you get to adulthood is they were all just barely holding it together. You know what I mean? They felt like the Rock.
That's the truth.
Yeah, but
you thought that you felt safe, but you realized they couldn't. Well, I knew it a little more because my dad was an alcoholic, so sometimes he would drink the check.
Right.
That's in those days. People who grew up with an alcoholic know about drinking the check away.
Sure.
Where my dad would spend the whole check, and then we'd have to figure out how we're going to get the food and pay the rent and keep the lights on and all that stuff, which was a good lesson, because growing up poor is not the worst thing in the world. It kind of makes you ready for not having any money.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Like, you don't have to, you don't go, you either say, well, I'm never going to be, poor, or you say, money isn't the most important thing to me in the world.
Yeah. It gives you that thing of like, if you grow up rich and then you don't have money, you're a failure. Right. But if you grow up poor, you're like, well, this is life. What are you going to do? This is the way you live.
At least I got bread.
Right.
That's what we used to say.
Yeah.
Is there any bread? I make some toast.
Right.
Make sugar and cinnamon toast.
But that's the other interesting thing. There, your folks are living week to week, right? Yeah. And having 11 kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're like, where's the thought process?
I think that things happened, and that wasn't. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's just like I couldn't tell you how that really played out and what it meant. But I think having 11 kids back then was not the most unusual thing.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, birth control wasn't really talked about then, and, you know, those things where now that would be unheard of.
It would be unheard of, yeah.
And you'd be criticized for it.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
What are you doing? You can't, you know.
Yeah.
But somehow they made it all happen. And my mom actually had 16 children, you know, 2 sets of twins, and the first baby died.
Wow.
So, you know, that always amazed me. And so I learned so much. I tried to bring as much of them into my life and into my comedy, especially.
Sure.
Because they're funny. They were funny. My dad was funny and my mom was funny. And they were tragic. My dad was a mean guy, but I tried to take that and you know, I think comics are alchemists. I think we try to, like my dad, the first joke I ever did about my dad is, well, he never hit us. He carried a gun.
Yeah.
You know, he never shot us. He'd just go.
Yeah.
And that was a way for people to know that what I was saying was very serious, but it was very funny too. And I think that's what comics do. They take underneath all their jokes is some pathos and some sadness.
You know, your stand-up career, immediately when Mitzi passed away, there's Mitzi Shore with the Comedy Store.
God rest your soul, Mitzi.
Which was everything for you when you went out to L.A., right?
When I got into L.A., I drove right to the Comedy Store and walked around, looked at all the names up on the wall. On the outside, all the names the signatures are on the wall. And I go, I'm going to get my name up here. That was one of my goals. And the other one was to do the Tonight Show. And so that's what I had a clear goal. I get that up there. It was important to me. And, you know, when they put my name up, it was really fun. And when I got on the Tonight Show, it was terrific. It was really fun. And so, you know, that she always said to me when I'd come off stage, Louie, you're a sweater comic. You got to wear a sweater. That's who you are. I go, okay, Mitzi, don't you have a sweater? I go, yeah, I always forget it, though. You know, because first of all, it's so hot up there with the sweater. But she was so lovely. I could never disappoint her that way. I would go, yes, you're right. I knew what she meant. And then her and I were good buddies. And I'm sorry I didn't go. I meant to see her many times, and I didn't go visit her. And I'm mad at myself about that. But I'm glad she's not suffering. And, you know, all the kids are, you know, I know all the kids and I know the family, and, you know, I love all of them. They were like my, you know, show business family.
Sure.
The store was my home. The Improv didn't embrace me like the store did. But, you know, I still, when I go to LA, I stop and do a set at the store. And I'm still a little nervous when I'm in the original room because it's a hard room to control. Right. But I just have fun up there. You know, it's still a big part of my life.
Well, again, you know, that's always the thing I think about with your strength is to be a kid driving out to the store, seeing that and saying, I mean, this is no different if you're into sports and you drive up to Yankee Stadium and you just say, I belong here.
Oh, that's a really great analogy.
I belong here.
That's where I'm going to be here. I'm going to have my name on the door. I'm going to get on the Tonight Show. Because that was like American Idol back then.
Yeah, of course.
You know, even, you know, it was like 3 TV networks, and Johnny had like a third of the audience every night. Right. It was on that channel. And so the next day, my life changed. I went on the Tonight Show. The next day, I opened at the Comedy Store at the Dunes Hotel. The week after that, I had a holding deal from NBC, and I was opening for the Commodores at Bally's in Las Vegas on the Strip with my name. I have the picture with my name, you know, opening act Louie Anderson. And that all happened in honest to God, one night. That in the next 2 weeks, I was I haven't looked back, really.
And there's nothing that we can do today. Nobody can do anything today to make that kind of...
No, it doesn't happen. I mean, I think you can a little bit with America's Got Talent, but not. You have a longer process.
Right.
But one night, I think some things like that are still... I think that, but there's too many outlets now, so there's nobody's focused on one.
And I remember being a kid watching Carson, and it always seemed to me if he liked somebody, I probably liked them. You know what I mean? I kind of felt like, I have the same taste as Johnny does. You know?
It's true though.
Yeah.
You know, my dad used to let me stay up and watch the comics, even though I never planned on being a comic. I did it on a dare one night.
Yeah.
And I had my family in the audience and all my friends. I was just going to do it one time, and when I got up there, I went, "Oh, this is something I should. This feels warm. This is fun."
Yeah,
you know, it felt right.
Yeah,
it felt right. It's we're really lucky that we get to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, what job could I get? I'd be a terrible waiter.
Yeah, I can't.
Hey, there's a bite out of my sandwich. You know how far the kitchen is from here? You're lucky there are any fries on that plate, buddy.
And that's what works in comedy. Isn't that the exact opposite of what works in the real world?
It's true, isn't it?
It's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's like, what else can we do? Mm-hmm. We're not good at... I lost many jobs. I was terrible at them. Or I wouldn't go back after lunch.
Yeah.
And my dad would go, "Oh, you quit another job?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you better get out there looking for another. You know, that's who he was.
Yeah.
He'd circle all the jobs he wanted me to get.
Yeah.
Unloading trucks, digging ditches, building dams. Right. Finish the Suez Canal, Louie.
When you went out to the Comedy Store like that, what was your class? Who were the guys that...
Howie, Arsenio, Eddie was there. Robin was stopped by all the time.
Yeah.
Argus Hamilton. Paulie was just starting out, doing comedy as a young kid. Lois Bromfield, Sandra Bernhardt.
It's a murderer's row. I mean, it's
Jim Carrey. And Gary Shandling.
Yeah.
And Dave Coulier. All these guys. That was a nightly. You know, it would be those lists. You know, I have some of them.
Yeah.
They're amazing. You know. And Sam came on the scene, and Dice and all those people. And that was it. Mitzi liked you or she didn't. She was real clear about it. And I couldn't get on. I couldn't get Mitzi to watch me. Jimmy Walker, who was also one of the people that I worked with, he made Mitzi sit down and watch me and make me a regular. He was single-handed. Because I wrote for him with Letterman and me and...
Leno, I think, even did
Leno.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wrote jokes for Jimmy. And he just kept me on. I was a terrible joke writer. Mm-hmm. You know, I would always write a fat joke for Jimmy.
Hey, now he can use them. That's great. Took 3 decades, but he's ready for those jokes. Yeah. But isn't that just stunning to look back? You know what I mean? Like, even if you did nothing else, the fact that you were there at that time is just...
Yeah, you know, it was a time that doesn't feel that long ago, but I know it was.
Right.
It doesn't, though.
Yeah.
It feels like, and that must have been a magical, in one sense, time for comedy, because I feel like all the comics that are around, you know, the generation, that I get a lot of people coming up to me that are pretty famous comics now going, "I loved your first special. Mm-hmm. I watched you at the store," or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like, I didn't realize, you don't know who you influence or who really loves your stuff. And I think comedy, that was kind of I don't know, it was like the Woodstock of comedy.
Yeah, it was just...
You know what I mean? It was that group of people who I think a lot of people started doing comedy because of them.
But so everybody was so driven, and, you know, you don't remind me of any of those. That's the other interesting thing about comedy, is that you can find your own voice and not become Howie Mandel or not become Robin Williams. Right. Even when you see these guys killing on either side of you. I
never felt threatened because I was so different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm talking about butter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm talking about my mom. I'm talking about my dad or my stomach. One of the two or three things. And here's my people. This is my new special, Big Underwear.
Yeah.
These are the people who influenced me. Bob Hope, Johnny Carson, Jonathan Winters, Jackie Vernon, Rodney, Joan Rivers, and Jack Benny. These were all people who had an intricate and a real integral, also a part of my comedy. And you can see it if you look at, if you think about those people there.
Yeah.
And Richard Pryor, he taught me to be really wide open with my heart. And that the more wide open I am, the better a comic I become. Because I'm not afraid of anything then.
No, I was thinking that watching your special of just your comfort level. And now I do see the Benny, because you'll just take a moment, you know, on stage, which is hard to do.
I think it's harder nowadays. I'm glad I didn't start out now where people have a phone to go like this with,
right?
You know, to put that up there, because that's a common thing in the clubs now. I see it, but I don't take it personal, because I might be doing it myself, so I don't take any of that stuff personal. And I learned a long time ago not to focus on people who weren't laughing, because that can drive me crazy as a comic. Like, why aren't you getting this?
Yeah.
But comedy's subjective. You always hear this. You either like somebody or you go, ugh, I can't stand that person.
Right.
And that's common, I think, with music and everything. It's also, it's all subjective, and I don't take it personal, but I'm really lucky. I feel just blessed and like crazy and humbled by, this is my 40th year of stand-up. So that's crazy to me that I've only been funny for about 20 years, but still.
Right, yeah.
But 40 years to do one thing and to still get paid.
Yeah.
And I did a photo thing, and they gave me this jacket. So I always feel like that's my mom right there.
Yeah, right.
My mom would go, how do you like the jacket? It's nice. They gave it to me.
Yeah.
And then she would do that,
So when you think back of those comics that you said that you drew inspiration, did you know it when you were young? Or
no, because I never wanted to be a comic. I just knew I liked Bob Hope was so damn definite. Hey, you hear this? You hear Bob Hope in me.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Hey, everybody. That definitely was my loudness in my act, is Bob Hope. And Jack Benny is.
Right, the quiet. But by the way, until you just did that, I never picked up the hope in you. And the second that you did it, I'm like, that sounds like a hope.
That was Bob Hope.
Yeah.
Everybody, welcome to everything is here. He was just to get the attention. I didn't realize how much Bob Hope influenced me,
Yeah.
And then I had a combination. Bob Hope would go, hey, everybody. And then the Jack Benny would go, well, today.
Yeah.
So I never been afraid of the silence. I'm always the guy in my head, I'm going, just wait. You have to wait till they are going to pay. I want the people to, hey, I'm really working really hard at making a crowd laugh. I work really hard at it. I want them not to be able to breathe if possible. That's really what I want. I want you to have the time of your life, and I want you to, honest to God, for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, even 10 minutes, forget every problem you have. That's my whole goal. Because that's an elixir then.
Yeah,
then I feel like, I've done something really good, because isn't it good to just forget about your troubles for a minute?
Absolutely. And that's the gift of being funny, is that you can take this fairly rough ride that we all have. You know what I mean?
It's funny in the beginning, where you think, like my second Tonight Show, my first was great. My second one, I thought I died a dog's death. Yeah. Because, the adrenaline from the first one, you think you're great. The second one, you go, oh, I ate it so hard on that.
Yeah.
It was so terrible. But nobody else thought it was terrible. It's all in your crazy stand-up head.
Yeah, that is fascinating too, right? That to you, these little things are the biggest things in the world. And the other people, like I saw you on the Tonight Show. Did you ever have a review or something in the paper, and you're like, this is terrible, and people are like, hey, I saw your name in the paper. Congrats. You know what I mean? They're not paying that much attention.
Well, we take it, comics take things personal. That's why they get mad when someone's not laughing or smiling in the crowd, and they take it personal. We have a, you know, we're completely, I think we're comics are a little, they're paranoid, they're very self-involved, and I think they think that, you know, people don't like them if they're not laughing.
Right.
And I think that you have to work really hard not to get, maybe some comics don't care about that anymore, but I still know lots of comics who go, oh, I hated that set. And they're no good until they do another set.
Right.
But I think I've grown past that because I never have a bad set.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, I'm at the cutting room tonight in New York City.
But by the way, there's no younger person who could understand just how big Bob Hope was and for how many
the biggest
decades
of all time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He just for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Was like the biggest thing.
He was. He was
yeah.
on TV, movies, radio, and
he wore. If you had a war, he would go and play it.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, he got, and you know, when he didn't, I don't know. There's a great documentary on PBS about the whole war thing with Bob. How much he got hurt when people turned against him because he didn't denounce the Vietnam War when everybody was protesting it. He took the wrong side there. Yeah, you know, which eventually, you know, panned out that it was the right side. You know, people wanted to get out of that war. And so that was really interesting that it was so hard for him. And I would say that that's been my best lesson, is to not be afraid. And it certainly happened with changing with the times, with, you know, when Zach called to say, yes, I'll do it. Even though inside any stuff I had, apprehension, I squelched it right away. And I just said, when I got the job, you're not gonna complain when you do this show, because I'm a complainer, and you're not gonna say no to anything they ask you to do. And that really paid dividends. So
yeah, because really it was a bold move. Oh, I want you to play a woman.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have really blown up.
I remember I went to Jonathan right before we shot the pilot, and I said, hey, I'm going to use my real voice. I'm not going to change the voice. I'm not going to cartoon up the voice. He said, okay. So I just tried to get my mom's voice she had a, you know, voice similar to mine, but a little higher pitch. But I try not to, I try to bring the joy. That's what you hear in that voice, is the joy of my mother, or the disappointment she has in you. Because she, you know, moms are the best at just that look across the room. Yeah. You know.
But I think it's so fascinating that Louie, C.K., and Zach just knew that you could do this. Like, they just thought. Yeah,
that was a big compliment, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, these two really brilliant comics go, oh, yeah, Louie Anderson can do this.
Yeah, they had a lot of faith in it. And you know, everybody has left me. No, Jonathan gave me no direction. He only said he would only go like this. And that, because I was being too big. Right. He would go like this. And then sometimes he'd go even more, he'd go like this. And he'd go. But it was all, and I go, okay. Yeah, yeah. Because I like being loud. Yeah. I come from a loud family.
But have you ever gone back and watched any of it and been like surprised by?
I'm surprised because I can't always connect to the character. Mm-hmm. I can't always remember doing what I'm doing up there. So I don't know what's going on, but I can't always, like, I watch the thing and I go, oh. You know, like a dog watching TV or looking at you when you're naked. Yeah. What? Put some clothes on. But I only watch the show when it airs live, like the public, with the commercials and everything, because I want to see it from that perspective, because that can give me the most information. But it's hard for me to watch Yeah, I hardly ever watch a show more than once. Once in a while, I'll catch one and I'll watch a little bit of it, but I usually get off it. I can't. It's hard for me to. It's a weird thing.
Sure.
It's a weird thing. It's a lot of different feelings I have when I see the character.
You know, it's so funny too that you play that character, and then I was looking at you in your new special, and you lost weight, and you come out on stage, and I don't think you've ever looked more masculine in your life than right now. You look like a union organizer from Chicago, and I'm like,
I look a little like Hoffa.
Yeah, right. You could play Hoffa.
We're gonna bring the union back. I want to tell you.
So you're in both these places at the same time.
I think I'm transforming myself as a person because I think I've, on some level, all my compulsive eating has disappeared. And so I'm really grateful for that every day, that I don't eat compulsively like I used to. And that's a huge accomplishment.
Sure.
And it feels like it. And so I think I held on to the weight with all the loss and all the stuff in my life that I was holding on to. I think the weight was a protection that I grew up needing. And even in my act, I'm not worried about the fact that if I, lose all my weight.
Right.
I just want to live a long time. That's really my main thing now. And hope to play a man again.
Yeah. But that compulsion is so powerful, it just feels like the right thing to do. It feels like
it feels good.
Yeah.
It's a drug.
Yeah.
I would guarantee you that food is as big a drug as any drug out there. And the big problem is you have to still eat. So what you eat. It's been so long, but last night I had the most delicious salad. And I bet I never said that until, I thought, I'm going to get that salad. That salad's so good. And that isn't my thing. Usually I'd like a loaf of bread. Mm-hmm. You can send up some soup with a loaf of bread.
Right.
And a small keg of butter. Because that really would comfort me. There was something about it because when my dad would drink, my mom would feed us afterwards to comfort us. She would just go, why don't you have a little bit of soup? Or would you like a tuna sandwich? Or, would you like, because I think she was trying to make up for, I think she was trying to fix herself and us. And it was a complicated thing. It's a beautiful, palette that I was lucky enough to have to choose from. I mean, I'm still taking paints out of that I never used before.
Right.
With Christine. I'm so lucky. I mean, it's just I go back to this being grateful and humbled by the whole experience because I can't quite explain it, and I'm trying not to fit it into a box, and I don't try to figure out what Christine is. I just let it really happen. I just know this. I know how women are because I had 5 sisters, and I had a great mom, and I use them, and I just every single thing I do are those people in my life, and I don't take anything away from it. I embrace it completely.
You bring up gratitude and humility, and that's the key right there. And I don't know whether you can get that when you're a young person to get to those places.
Especially if you're an addict.
Yes.
I think it's harder.
Yeah.
Because my dad was a drunk, my mom was a food addict. So there's lots of chemical and food addiction in my family, and everybody suffers from it. And it's killed some of my family,
sure,
those addictions. And so I think to have it arrested, that's how I feel right now, that it's arrested. But, if things got really tough for me, I know food would be my first go-to.
Sure. And it's always right there. I mean,
and you have to eat.
Yeah.
It's like heroin.
Yeah.
You can not do it.
Well, what I do, I try to have a little heroin every day, just a little bit, enough to feel good. But yeah, you are right. You can walk past a bar every day, but you can't walk past the supermarket. You got to have some food.
Yeah, and it's probably the biggest epidemic we have in the country because I see more morbidly obese people than I used to. And I don't mean that I'm looking for them, but, honestly, I know we're all, you know, there are a lot of people who food, you know, because there's a lot of pain in the world. There's a lot of people suffering. There's a lot of people in need. You know, for some reason, isolation, you know, we've got all these electronic things we can do and games we can play, and we can hide in there. But, you know, we really can't hide in there because it does show, and it does affect people. And I just think I keep saying, you know, this is what I say when I'm somewhere and talking about people. I go, well, when I'm driving, this is what I practice. Well, there's 2 human beings in that car. There's 3 human beings in the car to the left of me. There's a human being driving the car behind me. There's 2 human beings in this car. I am connected to all these people. And, you know, along with when I'm on the streets of New York, all these human beings that I'd like to avoid right now are my brothers and sisters. And it is really, I think, a crucial thing in the world right now that we get to that point. Because if we don't get to that point, we're doomed. Do you know what I mean? We're doomed. We pit each other against each other. That's the wrong deal. You know, we have to embrace each other at all costs of our prejudice, at all costs of our fear, of our anxiety, of our insecurity, of our, you know, envy, self-centeredness, and all that stuff. And I feel like I'm somewhat of an evolved person. But I have to work really hard at not wanting to get into my hotel room, lay on the bed, and be isolated. So I'm really looking at that. I think that's one of the things that I learned from my mom. She would feed the kids who weren't getting enough food in the neighborhood. She would go out of her way, say, invite that little girl who plays with you guys. She doesn't look like she's getting enough to eat. To my mom's own detriment, because the mothers would come over, you're fattening my kid up. Stop fattening my kid up. But my mom had a knack, and she passed it on to me, that we're all connected. And I think that's what Christine is. She's connected to all these people. And even on her worst days, she's a pretty good person.
I will never forget the thing that you just said about how we're all connected on the high. I just never once dawned on me.
I know.
I just see those cars.
This just happened to me recently. We were in a car and people were driving badly. And I said, and the guy was mad that was driving. And I said, well, you know, we're all connected. I said, there's, I don't know if you noticed, but there's 3 human beings over here. There's 2 up there. You know, there's 3 over here. There's 1 behind us. And we're all going the same direction. So, you know, one of the things that I think is really happening in the world that I do believe is that as connected as we are on Facebook and Twitter and all those things, it's going to continue. And it's going to move to, we're not going to have cars anymore. We're going to have cars that we jump into to get to work and stuff. We're going to have cars like that. We're not going to have...
recreational.
At your corner, there's going to be a car that's coming in 12 minutes and you'll know it. And you pop in and you'll take it to another car that'll eventually get you here to the studio. You know, and then when you go home, there'll be 9 seats in it or 6 seats in it. This is just a thought I had just looking at the world, because I got rid of my car when the lease was up. I go, I do not need a car. I take Lyft or Uber or any other thing, but I'm not having a car anymore. I go, because I know this is the future. I know this is the thing. And I think we all have an opportunity to drop our defenses and drop our differences and band together, because a bigger problem's coming. It would be saving the earth, I think, because, you know, like I'm even like me, I have bags that I take to the store. So because I've been either guilted or shamed into being it. But anyways, my main thing is this. My mom taught me this connection, and I became a stand-up for that same connection. And I think I'm playing Christine for that same connection, because how many people like Christine exist on TV? not as many as exist in the world. And so we have a lot of people that, and anyways, I don't know where I'm going with all this, except that we, you know, we're all human beings, and there isn't any difference when it comes right down to a piece of bread.
Damn.
I mean, we all have our piece of bread. We are. You know.
The book is Hey Mom. If you have a mom, I think you're going to like
this. Where'd we lose the audience?
No, dude.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's just the opposite. I think that you went really deep there, and I thought that was amazing. Thank you so much, my friend. And the book is...
I always do when I'm here.
Yeah.
This is a great... This Unmasked is exactly right.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, Ron.
Louie Anderson, let's hear it from everybody. Thank you, my friend. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I always let people know, Louie@louieanderson.com. I answer all my email. It goes right to my phone. I really do eventually write everyone back on my phone, is, you know, because I just think my money has to be where my mouth is about connection. And I hope we can do this again.
All right, we'll do it again. Thanks. Thank you, my friend.
Here we go. I got it.